Hello, my sassy turtles. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today I'm going to be talking about some of my insecurities. This is a video that's been inspired by multiple YouTubers who I've seen do this. And it's just something that I wanted to do to kind of let you guys know that, you're not alone in your insecurities and that there are other people who are kind of struggling with something as well, and that everybody has insecurities and that it's normal and that it doesn't make you weird to, dislike things about yourself. But that being said, you should also slowly learn to love your insecurities, because your insecurities are your flaws, and your flaws are the things that make you who you are. They're the things that make you unique. And being different and unique might seem a little bit scary sometimes, but honestly, it's one of the most wonderful feelings when somebody accepts you for who you are, regardless of your insecurities, your flaws, your differences, whatever is going on. And that's not going to happen if you try and hide your insecurities. But before I ramble on like I always do, let me just get to the point of this video, which was talking about my insecurities. So I started getting really insecure, I think, around middle school. That's kind of when I entered my awkward phase, and I had a really bad awkward phase. I just found some pictures recently, and I was looking at them and I was like, wow, I knew I looked bad, but I didn't think it was this bad. So I may or may not put some pictures in. You might be seeing them right now, you might not be. They're kind of embarrassing a little bit, and I don't like looking back to that time in my life, but at the same time, I know some people are in that time of their life at this moment right now. So it might help some people to see those pictures. So I will try my best to actually put them in to kind of get past that fear of having people see those pictures. But during my awkward phase, I went through a lot of changes. My hair was super frizzy. And I mean, it still kind of is, but it's not as bad as it used to be. My nose had gotten like way too big for my face. My proportions were just all off. I'm still not a huge fan of my nose. Honestly, I've learned to deal with it, but if it hadn't changed from the way it was in middle school, I probably would get a nose job. But honestly, as much as I dislike it right now, I don't hate it. So I'm learning to appreciate my nose, because it's the thing that makes my face look the way it does. So another thing that was a big deal for me during my awkward phase was my acne. I have had acne since 4th grade. My acne was not your just generic, like, everyday I'm a teenager, so I'm getting acne. I had like cystic acne, and just, it was genetic. It was passed on to me by my father. And it was something that no matter how many topical things I used, it wouldn't go away. I had people telling me to wash my face more often, or people would come up to me and be like, oh, your acne is not the first thing people notice about you. And I'm like, okay, but literally you just came up to me and said that. So obviously, obviously it's one of the first thing you noticed about me. Or I had another girl tell me, when I leaned my head on her shoulder, she said, get your greasy acne face off me. And this was actually a girl that I considered to be my friend, so that didn't feel very good. Another time I was in Six Flags with a friend of mine, and there was a little boy and his mother in the ride with us, and I could kind of see him looking at me, and then he was like, what happened to your face? And his mother was just like horrified, and I could tell that she had had acne problems just because she had a lot of like acne scars on her face. So she was apologizing to me so much, and I was like, no, really, it's fine. Like, kids say stuff like that. I mean, even my sister has said, oh, you're ugly because you have spots on your face. And this was when she was like 5 years old. I don't think she knew what she was saying, because she was basically saying stuff like that about everyone in the family. She was like, oh, you're ugly because you're fat. You're ugly because you have whatever. And so, like, she didn't necessarily mean it as a bad thing. Like, sometimes kids just say things because they don't realize they're hurtful. But, all of those things have had kind of an impact on me. And that's something that I've been insecure about for a really long time. I took Accutane for a really long time, and honestly, I think Accutane saved my life. I was very miserable with how I looked. I still have really bad scars on my face, on my back, and yeah, so let me just get back on track because I'm actually thinking of making a whole separate video about my struggle with acne, and this video is not that video, so let me just return to my other insecurities. Another thing that I've always been insecure about that kind of like worsened during my awkward phase was the fact that I'm not really that feminine in my appearance and just in my way of being in general. I've had people tell me basically since elementary school that I look like a boy. I've had people on streams ask me if I'm transgender, and that's always kind of sucked for me just because, I mean, why wouldn't it? Another thing I've always been super insecure about is just body hair in general. I have dark hair and I'm Greek, so I have arm hair, I have a bit of a mustache. If I didn't do my eyebrows, I would probably have a unibrow right now. If I don't shave my legs for a really long time, I start kind of looking a little bit like a monkey. So that's always something that I've disliked about myself very much, just because other girls seem to not have as much body hair as I do, and I got the short end of the stick, and I am a hairy girl. Just to reference another video that was literally called I Am a Hairy Girl. Another thing that's caused by my Greekness, my dark circles and just dark eyelids. You can't really see it right now because I'm wearing makeup. It's something that's kind of typical in olive skin, and I don't really like my olive skin in general if I'm not tan, because if I'm tan it looks fine, but if I'm not tan it looks kind of like greenish and transparent, and it's just not attractive. Another thing I dislike is that my face is asymmetrical. I always see it when I'm editing my videos. It's kind of why I look better when my hair's also like parted to the side, because then it's also asymmetrical, so you don't really notice it as much. And I feel like now that I brought it up, people are gonna start noticing that in all of my videos. So don't be on the lookout for that, please. But it's also why I end up taking pictures just basically of one side of my face, so a lot of my selfies look pretty much the same. Another thing that I've disliked about myself is that I have small boobs. You can't really tell right now as much because they don't look that small because I'm wearing a bra with a crap ton of padding. But that's something that I used to be really insecure about, and now I actually don't mind it as much just because it's comfortable, and if I really want them to look bigger I can just wear a bigger bra. But you know, it has its perks and it's a lot more comfortable, and certain types of clothing look better on me. I've just learned to find like the more positive aspects of it, and I've learned to appreciate it a little bit more. Another thing I'm insecure about is my shoulder blades. I know this sounds really weird, but my shoulder blades stick out. It's a thing that I guess happens to tall people who slouch a lot, because basically all of my tall friends who slouch a lot have this same issue. They just kind of stick out. They kind of look like wings. My mom calls them my wings, and she always tells me to straighten up and hide my wings. But it just doesn't look good when I'm like wearing either a tank top or a swimsuit. You can just see it and it doesn't look very good. Just slouching in general, my whole posture is an insecurity of mine, and I've been working on remembering to sit up straight and stand up straight, but I'm a very insecure and shy and awkward person, so sometimes this is just like my go-to posture because I feel shy and awkward, and so then I just never leave that posture. Another thing I'm insecure about are my feet. I feel like they're a weird shape. I feel like my toes are too long. I feel like that's something that a lot of people feel about their feet, because feet are just, I don't think I've ever met someone with attractive feet. Like, feet are just weird in general. I'm also self-conscious about my voice because it's really deep for a girl. I've been getting used to my voice a little bit because of YouTube. I have to watch myself for excessive amounts of time so I can edit my videos. So I'm getting a little better about how I feel about my voice. But when I was younger, I used to actually kind of alter my voice and speak a little bit higher to the point where I wouldn't even realize I was doing it. And actually, if you compare some of my earlier videos to my videos now, you can definitely tell the difference. I kind of noticed it when I was editing my bloopers video, because I was looking at some older videos and some newer videos and kind of listening to them one right after the other, and you can hear me kind of like speaking in a higher voice in some of the older ones. So if you're kind of curious about that, feel free to go look for it in my older videos. Try not to pick the cringy ones just because they're cringy and I don't want to be even more embarrassed. Another thing is my smile and my laugh, which kind of sucks because your smile and your laugh is what you do when you're happy, and I've never really liked mine that much. I've had a couple situations where people told me that they were unattractive and that they were weird. Ever since then, whenever I like smile or laugh around other people, I just like cover my face or like put my hand over my face, and yeah, so that's another one. And then the last one that I really want to mention is my personality. Honestly, I'm a very like awkward person, and I have an awkward personality, and I feel like people kind of judge me for that sometimes. I just notice people's like weird looks and weird reactions to my weirdness, and I've kind of learned to deal with that just because I'm learning to love my personality for what it is, even though it's different for most people. And maybe it's a little awkward and weird and odd, but you know what? That's just who I am. So I'm trying to learn to actually appreciate that rather than be embarrassed of it. And two things that I used to be insecure about that I actually really appreciate now are my body type. I have a very like pear-shaped body. Like I'm super skinny and tiny up here, but then my thighs are pretty darn big. And even though I used to dislike that about myself, now that's kind of like the thing where you're like smaller up here and like your legs are nice. And another thing are my eyebrows. I used to get made fun of for my eyebrows. I used to try and cover my eyebrows with foundation, which looking back at some pictures, that was the worst idea ever. I should have just learned to rock my eyebrows rather than trying to cover them up, because that just made them look even worse. But like those are two things that I used to really dislike about myself that are like super cool now. And sure, it's frustrating that people used to make fun of me for them and now they're all trying to achieve that. Like there's so many girls who used to make fun of me for my eyebrows, and now I bet they're all out there trying to get these eyebrows, and I was just born with them. And thank you, Mom, for not letting me pluck them, like over pluck them, because I would be very angry at myself right now if I had done that in the past. But yeah, I feel like this video has gotten kind of rambly. Hopefully it's not too long, and hopefully you guys can gain something from this, even if it's just knowing that you're not the only one who has a certain insecurity, or just who has insecurities in general. I'm still working on loving myself. It is always a work in progress. I think there's not very many people out there who 100% love everything about themselves. So it's always something that you have to work on. It's not something that's gonna come naturally. So don't feel bad if it doesn't happen right away. But yeah, hopefully this video helped you with that a little bit. Let me know in the comments what you think. Leave a like, subscribe if you'd ever like to see this face ever again, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!